Good evening and welcome. It is my honor to welcome you to the official launch of the 300 Women Impact Investor Program, a visionary initiative by Qatar Science and Technology Park that marks a major milestone in Qatar's innovation and investment landscape. Now, tonight, we are not just unveiling a program. We are igniting a generational shift, a movement, a platform, a community, one designed to empower with knowledge, networks, and confidence to step decisively into the world of venture capital. As we gather here, the global investment landscape still tells a difficult story. Women actually secure less than 3% of venture capital funding and hold only 2% of seats in venture capital boardrooms. These numbers are not just statistics, they represent missed opportunities, untapped talent, and voices excluded from shaping the future of innovation. The 300 was created to change that, because when women invest, the entire ecosystem rise. This initiative provides world-class venture capital trainings, mentorship from global leaders, real investment, exposure, and supportive network of peers who learn and grow together. And there is no better place to launch this initiative than Qatar, a nation undergoing extraordinary transformation, a nation that continuously invests in innovation, entrepreneurship, and women's empowerment. The 300 builds on this foundation by preparing women to become decision makers in capital, innovation, and impact. This program carries a deeper message. Women belong at the table where financial decisions are made. Their perspective matters, their leadership matters also, and their participation will shape a more inclusive, resilient, and forward-looking economy. Over the coming years, we envision a powerful network of women across Qatar and MENA region leading funds, sitting on investment committees, co-investing in high-potential ventures, and paving the way for generations to come.
Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Welcome to your home. Welcome to QSTP. قدمتم أهلاً ووطئتم سهلاً. On behalf of everyone at QSTP, we are honored to have you with us this evening. When we started planning this event, or this program and initiative, we did not anticipate the incredible response that we got from the community. We thought we would have 5, 10, 20 coming in at a time, and instead we went from 12 to 60 to 180. So we're delighted to have this community. Now, as a serial founder, I've been blessed to have incredible angels who've supported me through my journey and who believed in me and cheered me on. As an impact angel investor, I witnessed the result of putting in impact investing into communities. It brought dignity, it brought self-reliance, and it brought economic empowerment. I learned from my fellow angels and volunteered my time to nurture founders who then went on to create disruptive startups. Last month, I was attending an event in Dubai, and a gentleman approached me and he said, "You might not remember me, but I was part of a program that you ran for Syrian startups during the war. And while the startup that I had started did not succeed then, today I actually run a multi-million-dollar company, and that is a direct result of being introduced early on and being guided by someone who could invest and mentor startups. So what if each of you, who are hopefully becoming investors or already investors, was to have one such success, one founder that actually reaches a multi-million-dollar valuation? We would graduate 200 millionaires just from this community, because we already have 200 women signed up. And that's a huge impact on the local economy. But I believe that we can do a lot more. With impact investing as the guiding light and impact investing in deep tech, we can have a huge change on the region and possibly the globe. You've just heard from my colleague that 97% of all tech funding goes to men. 97%. Let that sink in. So we want to do a more equitable equation in that. We want to have that change for us here, but also for women internationally. Today, most of Silicon Valley and China, Silicon Valley East and West, their investments focus primarily on financial returns. We want the majority of our investments to include social impact and climate impact. Today, the race for AI disregards ethics and values and prioritizes for finance. We can change that with the right guidance and the right investments in startups. So as angels, you will support the next generation of startups with funding, with time, and with your experience. You'll witness yourself grow as the startups are maturing. You'll also gain incredible knowledge in business, in technology finance, in governance, impact, and in community building. You'll contribute to the GDP, to Qatar's national goals, and to the region's success, something that we all want to own. 50% of our region's population is under the age of 30. There aren't enough government jobs or private sector jobs for them. They need innovation to survive, and they need your support to build those innovative startups. Palestine, Sudan, Lebanon, Yemen, Syria, Libya, Iraq are either at war or just coming out of war. And usually, women are the backbone of war-torn countries and post-war development. So these countries, by partnering with angels from them and from their communities, we can drive change and live up to Qatar's reputation as the peacemaker of the region. Most importantly, as parents, you'll play a tremendous role by educating yourselves on the latest technologies through the startups that you will be interacting with and supporting, and being a part of building that future that your children are going to rely on in every aspect of their life. As a Muslim scholar had said, إِذَا أَرَدْتَ أَن تَعْرِفَ مَقَامَكَ فَانْظُرْ فِي مَا أَقَامَكَ. And it loosely translates to be the change that you want to see in the world. So I'm delighted to take this journey with you to build relationships, sisterhood, and a community of change. Welcome to the fastest growing community of impact in deep tech. Welcome to QSTP and the 300.
All right, welcome ladies. Thank you for making the time to be with us today and to help us navigate these territories. I'm gonna just dive straight into the questions if you don't mind. And if you want to give a little bit of a backdrop on your company with your first question, you're welcome to do that, or the institution that you represent. And I'll start with you, Medea. As a VC, what percentage of deals come to you with early angel investments have come through?
Thank you, Rama. And so I feel so privileged to be here tonight. Thank you for the invitation. And see such a great audience, all women investors, aspiring investors, entrepreneurs. So thank you for having me. I'm a senior partner at Global Ventures, which is one of the leading VC in the region. We have 3 funds, 70 investments so far, and more to come. And I'm also the founder of C3, which is a subsidiary of Global Ventures, and we run accelerators for early stage companies. So how many they have angel investors when they come to us? Actually, probably a good 70 to 80%. A lot of the companies that reach Series A stage, which is maybe $500,000, $1 million of revenues, and a valuation of 20, 30 million, something in that range, they have got some angel investors before, either from their friends and family network or actual angel investing partners. And it's great. Voice? Oh, sorry. It's great to have angel investors in the cap table because they're very passionate, typically, about the sector, very knowledgeable about the space the company is operating in, and they become de facto part of the team. Sometimes it's actually difficult for those angel investors to kind of step back a little bit when the other institutional investors come in. But it's beautiful to see how embedded in the life and in the journey of the company they become.
Thank you. I'm going to jump to Sara since you are representing an angel investment network, and feel free to tell us a little bit about that. What role do angels play? Why are they called that? And is it early risk or early reward?
So first off, thank you very much for having me today. I'm very happy to be here, and I've been very excited to be talking about this topic. I've been in Qatar now for 8 years, 4 years that I've been with Doha Tech Angels, which is the first angel investment group that was created in Qatar. It was actually created, and 2 of the founding members are women. Started up with 15 founding members, and then now we have a network of about 40, and in the 40 we have about 10 women. So still not the good representation, but not enough. In terms of why are they called angels? They're called angels because they're the first one that believe in you. So they're supposed to be there and to guide you through the tough times, which are the first cap, which we also call the valley of death in startup terms. It's high risk and high returns, so it's both. I think it goes together. And I think as an angel investor, you can't look at angel investing or engaging with startups only by thinking about the return on investment, because it's a completely different lifestyle. You're very active on the cap table. You must enjoy working with founders. I just want to say another 2 things before I move on to the next question. It's just that this community of women-led ventures, startups, funds, in technology, in the region has been growing very fast, and I've been blessed to work with a lot of the leaders in the space. I've worked actually in one of my first jobs with Noor Sweid from Global Ventures, and I also worked with Hala Fadel, who I reached about 10 years ago. I met Ms. Rama there. So I'm very happy to see how this community is coming together.
Thank you so much. And as the leader in this space, we look to learn a lot from you in the 300. Obviously, ours has a keen focus, in addition to tech, on impact. And Dr. Ghada, you have experience with that. So could you share a pivotal moment in your investment career where you saw technology being harnessed for social good? And what did that experience teach you?
Well, thank you very much, Rama. And thank you everyone for being here today. It's an honor to be in the panel that speaks much more than technology. So when we discuss about tech for good, we are not simply talking about innovation. We are talking about responsibility, about how we choose to use our skills, resources, and our vision to serve people and improve lives. So one of the main reasons I became a lawyer was my belief that access to justice should not depend on someone's financial ability. And with technology, I realized I could reach far more people than I ever could touch traditionally with legal work. A meaningful moment for me came when I started publishing simple legal newsletters and sharing them online. These newsletters offered free legal answers and awareness in very clear and very simple language. So without technology and social media, it would have been almost impossible to reach so many people or provide that kind of access. So it taught me something I carry with me every investment decision today. Technology becomes most powerful when it's driven by human needs. So this experience shaped how I see technology not just as innovation, but as a tool to open doors, share knowledge, and empower people who normally does not have access.
Thank you so much, Dr. Ghada. Hamyan, first, you have a beautiful name. It's very unusual, and I learned that it was very Qatari-centric. So your role is in healthcare and health tech. You're with QPHI and have had a background with Qatar Investment Authority as well in the same space. Do you see a role, first of all, for angel investing in that space? And how do you see an impact thesis work with health tech?
Definitely. So I can see healthcare investment, especially the startups and the VCs have raised a lot recently, a few years ago. And I can see also Shaikha is also more interested into that. And the new Qatar National Vision 2030 that they want to do a healthcare hub for health tech in Doha. During my experience in a QIA, and I recently joined QPHI as a healthcare investment, there are a lot of startups and VCs out around the world, and I've met some of them in Web Summit 2024, 2023. I met them in JP Morgan Healthcare Conference. Most of them are AI-driven, technology-driven, they're smart, great ideas, and some of them are angel, seed level. They're very interesting, very risky, but very promising. So from my experience working with them, they are high risk, but very promising. And my advice for investors when investing in angel or seed VCs, to look into, not to get engaged in the hype or the motion of it, but instead to look into the real impact this VC or startup will lead to. So look into the idea, dive deep into it. Will it really do a change? Does it fit your values? Does it look into the model, the financial model behind it? Does it make sense to you? Will it complement to the community? Will it add up something to the community before investing in it?
Thank you so much. Appreciate the insight. So Medea, you ran a network, C3, that supported early stage startups that were in impact. Can you tell us a little bit about that dynamic, and when did angels come in to support the startups?
So when a founder is impact driven, is or she's intentional about impact, the magic formula needs to be crafted, I think, at the beginning. The more the impact, the more the revenue, the more the revenue, the more the impact. If this virtuous cycle doesn't come to life, then there will be a compromise down the line that the founders will have to take. And so the alignment between the two is very important from the get-go. That's what we train our accelerated founders from the get-go. You can think of including an impact mission down the line, but it's a little bit more complicated. In particular, if you already got some investors that don't espouse that mission. So very important for the investors coming in, feeling aligned with the mission of founders that are intentional about impact. Now, there are other founders that might not be intentional about impact, and impact become a byproduct of what they're doing, in particular in sectors like healthcare or education or green energy, you name them. Sometimes there is not a founding team which is intentional, but impact happens if certain things are taken care of throughout the journey. So impact first, great, it needs to be aligned with the business model and vice versa, but it can also become a reality down the line, so we don't judge as long as the impact gets measured and is real on the ground. I hope I answered.
And angels are coming in, do they, in the early various stages?
Yes. I forgot the second part. When angels came in, it's very important to make sure that values are aligned and that the impact mission, it's really a common mission. Otherwise, what we have seen throughout the years is that if investors are not aligned with that mission, they don't get excited about the impact side of the business. In the long run, things get a little bit tougher for the founders when it comes to impact, meaning not a lot of resources get approved for measurement or for making sure that things get done properly on the ground. Business decisions take over. And again, if the alignment is great, then much less discussion needs to happen later on. But if the alignment is not perfectly there, it becomes a little bit tricky. And I will add something. Along the journey, bringing investors that have different vested interests, it's a killer. We have seen in some of the boards we're in now, and this becomes a reality a little bit longer term, when investors in the cap table are not aligned towards the same goal, being it a certain level of return, a certain type of exit, and the impact side, then it becomes a bit of an interesting dynamic.
Thank you for that. Sarah, I'll come back to you. There are different models for angel networks. Some invest individually, others invest as a collective. Walk us through your model and why you chose that.
Sure. So again, there are different ways you can engage and start investing in startups. One way is if you do it on an individual level. So you start seeing different opportunities come up. You like an opportunity, it might be close to your space, it might not be. You believe in the mission, you like the team, and you can decide to invest. The alternative would be to do it through a syndicate. So have an investment club or an investment network. The reason why DTA did it this way is because they wanted to pool in capital and make decisions together. I think in my personal opinion, if it's the first time that you're going to be investing in technology startups and if they're going to be in the early stage, it might make more sense to do it with a group because you're bouncing out ideas. You have the expertise of the network or the domain expertise that you have, but you might be also collaborating with people that have other expertise, which brings more insights to the table. So, and that's one way to look at it, why it's good to be in a group. The second thing is also you can make more investments because this is a numbers game as well. We need to be structuring a portfolio. If you're going to be investing in one or two companies, then there's a very high chance that you won't make the return on investment or even the impact unless you're very, very lucky. So the idea is to then build a portfolio. And to build a portfolio, if you're several people together that have pooled money together, then your entry ticket as an investment might be smaller. So companies don't generally, for instance, accept $10,000 tickets for one person. But if you're 10 people, that's $100,000. And they might accept that. So for you, it's still 10,000, but for the company, it's 100. So this is why generally syndicating the investments, and in the case of DTA, there's a structure called investment club, which is a QFC structure, which is a very easy entity to create to pool capital and to invest in startups. So that's one way.
Thank you. And I'll just have a quick follow-up question with you is, where do you find your deals?
Right. So initially, it was very much partner-driven. So the partners or the investors they have their own networks, healthcare, telco, IT, whatever it is, and then they can bring in from their networks. But now we've institutionalized it. We've built really good relationships with Dubai angel investors, Saudi angel investors, Tenmu from Bahrain, and from different parts of the world, even Indonesia's angel investors. And from there, we start deal sharing amongst different geographies, which also diversifies your portfolio because you end up being able to invest in companies that are in completely different regions. So that was also a good way to source deals. But initially, it started just from the partners network, and then little by little, we started building more strategic deal flow strategies.
Wonderful, and hopefully you'll add the 300 to your list of partners to co-invest with. Obviously, for us at QSTP, we're keen on investing in our startups from the incubator, but we'd love to share them and also learn from you. Dr. Ghada, what unique qualities or perspectives do you believe women bring in the field of impact investing?
Well, thank you, Rama. I believe that women bring something very unique to impact investment. So women naturally look to projects from both strategic and a human angle. So we don't focus only the numbers, we focus on people behind those numbers. We pay attention to the people behind those numbers with regard to and real life impact a solution can create. So we also have a strong sense of responsibility. We think about long-term value, about empowering communications, and about creating positive change that lasts. So our presence is not an addition. It is a core part of building an investment landscape that's more balanced.
Wonderful, thank you. And that's a goal that we have at QSTP, is to be able to support the female founders and also have an eye on inclusion and in the communities that we influence. So going back to healthcare, I'd love to hear from you about if you're seeing startups in health tech through your work at QPHI, to tell us a little bit about their profile, maybe what areas they're tackling, and then how many are you seeing that are women who are healthcare professionals that are starting up businesses?
So there are a lot of subsectors in healthcare. I would say there are the pharma and non-biopharma. So mostly now are AI driven. Some of them are primary care, some of them are mental health, which is what Qatar's need currently, and that's what Ministry of Health are working towards it. The primary care and the mental health, that's our priority. I've seen many actually, they're very smart, some of them in post-operations and pre-operations, some of them in clinical trials, drug discovery, some of them AI models, some of them in mental health, as said, and well-being. Sorry, what was the second question?
How many, do you see a lot of women that are healthcare professionals?
Yes, definitely. So most of the startups I met are actually, some of them are men, but most of them have women aspect in it. The founders are men, to be honest, but women are from the board members, or women contribute to it, or they're CEOs or extra. Yes, and I see a lot of doctors, to be honest, ladies, women in this field. I guess they account for 70% in healthcare. So they're actually majority more than men. But sadly, as you said, most of the startups are founded by men. Not women yet, but inshallah, soon women will be founders too.
Wonderful, thank you. So in the States, they say that people invest in people who look like them. And you have a very strong female presence in your VC. Tell us how that influences the decisions on the startups, and do you have an equitable investment in women and men?
Now, we wish to do much more. We have now 26% of our portfolio, which is co-founded by female, which is similar to the pipeline we see. We don't have a lot more pipeline at the Series A, Series B yet. For sure, so I always say it's more about diversity of thoughts than it is just about gender. So we mix a gender, we are 50-50. I believe a bit more women than men. We are 6 partners, 4 women, 2 men. We don't dislike men, it's fine, but we try to make sure that it's balanced and a bit more. We have a lot of nationalities. It's easy in this region, but it makes sense to mix up the nationalities as well, the age and the background. So we have a bunch of different backgrounds in the investment team and at the IC level. So it's really about each and every one bringing their own perspective. And the conversation at an IC level, which is the investment committee conversations, which are multiple conversations about a specific startup, are always fun because everybody brings his own backgrounds, his own gut feelings, logic, and it's a very rich conversation. Now, do we get it always right? Probably not, but the fact that we are so different helps thinking about perspectives that otherwise will not come up. Now, in particular when it comes to health, education, there are specific female-led ideas, if you wish, that are very important in the conversation. A lot of those, even when we invested back in the days in Mom's World, for example, which is a very successful company. We exited already, it's from our Fund 1. Having a mix of female and men in the IC was important because that perspective of a community of moms would have not been eventually as appreciated in a full men world. So it's mixing up the backgrounds and the perspectives that enriches the conversations at an IC level. And going forward, after the investment, we have 10 to 12 years of relationship with those founders. So it's really important to have a mix of skills as well and experiences. So I think it's important for good investment decisions to have a mix of brains and hearts around the table.
Thank you so much about that. And I'll take that to Sara, because Sara, with Medea, we're talking about venture, you're doing angel. Is there a difference in terms of guiding female founders to male founders? And do you get different outcomes from female angel investors to male? Can you tell us a little bit about a journey of maybe 1 or 2 startups?
Okay, so can I bounce back first on the question you asked to Medea, and then I'll come to that one. I want to say, it's important to note, why is it important to have female investors? Like, why are we even talking about this in the first place? We talked about less than 3% of the funding goes to female-funded startups. And why do we think that with female investors that's going to change? And the reason we think that is because there's data to prove this. We know for a fact that, for instance, if a startup is founded by a woman, that company tends to hire up to 6 times more female in the team. We know for a fact as well that teams that are co-founded with women generate 10% more revenues on a 5-year average period. So these are scientific facts. So there's reason why we want those female founders, and there's reason why we want those female investors, because it's a belief that probably that the female investors are going to trickle down, and we're going to see more of the pipeline. So you're saying it's a pipeline you're seeing is 26%. If we have more and more female investors, I think that the pipeline will change. So that's one reason as why are we looking at this. Then about angel investors, I think that, again, it's the first part. So a female angel investor that is mentoring a female founder probably has specific insights on how to take the company further. Just the mentorship relationship might be a bit different. So in that sense, maybe there is a difference between having a female founder and a female angel investor. But in terms of the process, I don't think there's much of a difference. And what we've seen so far at DTA, we have about 18% of our portfolio that are co-founded with women. And we have a good representation on the investment committee level of women. So that's never been really the issue there, but we're not seeing the pipeline. So that's what I'm thinking we're missing. We're missing the pipeline of good female founders.
Thank you for that. I'm going to ask you, Himyan, about this issue. Now, born and raised in Qatar, you've graduated here from university. Why is there, and this is a personal opinion question, why do you think there are less women coming into technology ventures than men?
Okay, just a bit background about me. So I'm Qatari. I was born and raised in Qatar, but I lived in the UK for 10 years and I studied in London. Thank God, alhamdulillah, I come from a very open mindset family, and my parents, and especially my father, is very supportive. So the male figure in my life actually supported me all the way until today to make it up to the stage with you. And he's the one who actually taught me the investment, and he's the one who's guiding me. He's the one who's directing me. So it's always my father behind me, my brothers, it's always my family. The difference we see, I guess people maybe are having a mistaken concept about that men in GCC are not supportive. There are cases, yes, and there are cases, no. From the cases I've seen, and me personally talking about my family and myself, I've seen that men actually supported me all the way in my journey, starting from my grandfather, father, my managers, my bosses at work. I mean, I was, so I'm a doctor actually. I studied immunology and lung cancer research, and then I decided to shift into investments, and then I decided to combine healthcare and investment. When I decided to do that, everyone was against me. Everyone said, why are you doing this? Are you, sorry, stupid? Why are you transitioning? It's such a big transition. The only person stood behind me was my father. And he supported me all the way to do the transition and to combine both healthcare and investment together. When I started work, my boss, Dr. Mohammed Ghanem, he's the head of healthcare investment in QIA. He's the one who also taught me all the fundamentals, and he also supported me and guided me all the way. My director, which was Dr. Ron, he's the one who taught me how to do the modeling and the financial analysis. My lecturers and teachers who taught me when I was doing my CFA. So it's actually all men who's teaching me. And currently, the president of a QPHI, he's Dr. Manolis. So he's also the one who's supporting me in this journey. I don't see that, from my point of view, I don't see that there is a problem if women want to start a startup. If she really wants to start up, especially in Doha, she is supported. I'm talking about Qatar. She can start. There are a lot of communities in Doha and a lot of services. You have the service, you have Ministry of Commerce. They have a service called Single Window Services. This is for investors, and it's open for everyone, women and men. Women can go there, they can register their startup company, and they can start up from there. You have the Web Summit, you have Doha Forum, they can start from there too. And they are actually supporting them, especially Shaikha Moza is supporting. And I can see also QF is, and Qatar National Vision is currently going towards investment and helping women to show themselves, to do a startup, and they're asking people to do so. QDB also have a program for that. QDB is also supporting. So if you have an idea, it's a startup angel, you just go to them, say, I have an idea, I want support. They do actually fund you to start your business. So I don't see in Doha that we have this gap or problem that women can't start or women cannot be supported by men.
Absolutely, and I would echo that. I think throughout the region, the male figure is oftentimes very supportive. I think part of the thing we're trying to grapple with is why, despite 50% of the population being in STEM, do we get 20% of the population of women applying into funding? And so we'll continue to have this conversation on this topic and hopefully uncover more reasons. I wanted to just wrap up with one last quick question from all of you to the audience who wants to start investing, what's a book, a podcast, or even a documentary that you would recommend that they follow up on or read up on?
I have so many. I'll just say 3 books. It's 3 books. One is called Venture Deals. It's so helpful. It's a bit legal, but it's so important for any investor to understand the terminology, the terms of a deal. It's called Venture Deals. I think the author is Brad Fend or something like this. The second one for the investors that want to do more impact, there is a book called Adventure Finance, Only Patent Power. Great book and a lot of resources on the website of the book as well. And then last but not least, for your startup founders, the ones that you will invest in, it's called the Straightforward Talks to Startup Founders, something like this. Randy Comisar is the author. Great books. I have them at home, and time to time I refresh my memory there as well.
Thank you. Dr. Rada.
So from my side as a lawyer, I will always advise investors to seek knowledge. I'm not gonna say only read through books. Sometimes you understand and sometimes you have lack of information. Sometimes it doesn't combine with the legal system in the country you are investing on. So always seek advice from even experienced investors or the right channels as well, and qualified lawyers that they can provide you with very reasonable information.
Thank you. Sarah?
Yes. So there's a book called Angel by Jason Calacanis or something like that. So it's about, it's a very mathematical, scientific approach of how to build your portfolio. It explains it down to the detail of what questions to ask when you meet the founder the first time, and things like that. So I think it's a very good book for you when you start thinking about angel investing. And I want to just double down on the ask around. I think there's this whole theme of your network is your net worth. I think you should use your network. Ask people. Ask for help, ask for advice. When you're looking at a company, talk to someone that you know in the space to give you advice. Talk to us whenever you, anyone, reach out and use your network, because that you'll get the most insights there.
I would recommend something more interesting than a book. So Anna Hathaway has 2 movies, one called The Intern, which is in 2015, one called We Crash in 2022. The Intern 2015 is very inspiring, where she is a CEO and a mother and a wife, and she built her startup fashion e-commerce fast growing company. And it shows you how she starts from scratch and how she builds it up. And then when the board members try to step in to take the company from her, how she fights for it and she owns the whole company for herself. It's a very interesting movie. Robert De Niro is also with her in the movie. It's really interesting. The other movie was We Crush in 2022, where it's about the downfall of the company and how she saves the company. And a really nice book I've read is The Poor Dad, Rich Dad. Yeah, that's a really good one. And finally, I would say is about networking. So how I learned when I came back to Doha and I decided to transition to investments, I started going with my father to the meetings, the conferences. And I just sit and listen. I don't talk, I don't speak, I don't know anything. Just sit and listen. Get the network, see what they're saying, get to know the people and hear everything from them. And that's how I learned. And I started getting into the community.
Wonderful. Thank you all for sharing your knowledge and insights. And I'd love to get questions from the audience if you have any for our panelists. And do we have a mic to go around? If not, we can share. You can take my mic.
Hello, good evening. My name is Hannah. I'm from India. Actually, I'm a woman entrepreneur. I have been running a startup in India for the past 2 years. It's an EdTech platform. Actually, I had built the course in Arabic initially. So it's been 1 year since I developed that course. But do you know, because of the lack of attention these investors giving on women, I had to stop that. Basically, I approached many investors here, but they are being too skeptical towards a woman. They might be thinking like, oh, this woman would be able to do this. They would be able to run a startup here in Qatar, being an Indian. So I have been facing marginalization, racism, and everything. Even I had mailed to QSTP presenting my ideas. There was no response so far. So I think we don't have that channel to connect you people. Even today I got a mail that we have refrained everyone from pitching your project or any plans. But where are the channel? Can we really connect to you through a proper channel? That is my question. And I think in this period, women should support women. You have to support us. You were telling that, okay, most of the founders are men. But the fact is that most of the ideas are coming from women, and these are executed by men. This is the reality. So how can we resolve this? Yeah, this is my question.
So one of the reasons why we're creating this network is to support as many women and their co-founders, men in Qatar and the region. Happy to take on a one-on-one conversation with you afterwards to understand your experience with QSTP. And thank you for asking the question. I don't know if anyone has an additional response?
I would only say that if they're going to refuse or to say no, just ask for feedback. I think that the most important thing that we also, it's part of the responsibility of investors, is to give feedback. So if they're not interested, they can tell you why, and to make sure that is it a bias because of my gender, or is it because it's a sector that's not interesting to that investor, or figure that out. So I think that if the next time you get a rejection, then push for the feedback, because I think it's your right to get that feedback.
I just add one comment, just to give you some stats. We screened more than 10,000 companies and we invested in 70. So sometimes rejections are part of the job we do. We wish we had more capital. We wish we could invest maybe in sectors that are not part of our remit in that specific fund. I believe everybody goes through a lot of rejections in the space, and maybe things will get better with more capital flowing in venture capital, in angel investing, but at this point it's still a very difficult thing to get investors.
I would like to add a comment, if you don't mind, Rama. First time we're having a beautiful president, women QSTP, so I'm sure Rama will do her best, and I'm sure Rama will solve all the problems, inshallah. And we're lucky to have her.
No pressure, huh?
No, we're lucky to have you, Rama.
Thank
and
you.
now, inshallah, Rama is here. She'll be able to address that issue, inshallah. Especially, she started this initiative, which is great. I've never seen such thing in Doha. I'm happy that Rama has joined us. We're very lucky to have her. Thank you for having you.
Oh, thank you.
And I would like to tell you an advice. So when you approach an investor, look at their profile. Look at their work, what they're interested in. So for example, I know Ashraf Abul Isa, for example, is into sports. I won't go and talk to him about a healthcare AI startup. He's not interested. He'll reject it immediately. I know he's into fashion, so I'll go talk to him about fashion, but nothing about tech, for example. He's not going to invest in it. So I need to look at his profile. I need to look at his history. I need to look, where does that person or investor you're targeting network? Where does, what events he attend, for example. The second thing, you need to look at your model. Your financial model, is it strong enough that, especially if you're a startup, you're very high risk, but it's true that high risk, high return. But will that solve a problem in this community, your idea? So are you solving something? For example, In QPHI, I met last week a company who came from Sweden. We get a lot of biotech clinical trial companies. Why would I say yes to this and no to that? They're all biotech clinical trial companies, right? But we said yes to one company. We said to 10, no. This company was niche because this company was doing a very niche research on autoimmune diseases, a drug for autoimmune diseases that does not suppress your immune system. No one in the world has made this yet. It's only them. So definitely I would go for them because they are solving or filling a gap we have. So you need to see what's the gap in this community. If you're starting a business in Doha, what's the gap in GCC? What's the gap in Doha? I'll go for it. I'll address it. And then I'll see who are my audience. And then I'll go and find them, look for them in that aspect.
Thank you.
So if I may add, Rama, so being here today, I think it's a plus for you and for all of us. That's the networking, and it's very important. I totally agree with my colleagues here today. But the thing is, maybe you have to check also your model. You check the way of your presentation, the way of delivering the information. It's very important. Is it serving the community in a certain way? Is it harming in different way? Is it long-lasting, or it's gonna end in certain time? So there is a lot of, being rejected is not saying no, it's not end. That actually have to give you more power to enhance it and make it more reasonable, more convincing.
Thank you so much, Dr. Ghada. Any other questions from the audience? Yes, I want to see if we can get, all right, there's a young lady here.
Good evening, everyone. Thank you so much for this panel session. My name is Khadija. I'm a founder here at QSTP. My company is incubated here. So I'm asking this question for my friends that are not in the room today. And it's something personal because I'm always looking for how to help them. They all have startups that are not tech-enabled. And I understand that all of you on the panel, you are tech-enabled investors, like you invest in companies that use either AI or anything in tech. So, and based on what Sarah said, she talked about like how there is a low pipeline of female founders. And I believe that if these women get into spaces like this, because a large number of these women, they work in fashion, beauty, food, and craft. And I feel like if they get into like this community, they can know how to use tech to enable their current work. Because sometimes I have conversations with some of my friends, and I'm like, oh, you can add AI to fashion, you can add AI to beauty, but I feel like the barrier to entry for them is low because tech to them seems so big that they cannot understand. So my question is like, what are the opportunities for them? Are you open to also helping them? Or is there any aspect of the investment group that caters for women in that field? Because I know you're all passionate about women in general, but not all women are into tech. Thank you.
I'll give it a go. Now, first of all, depending on the fund, we have specific remit, specific mandates, and that's what we pitch to our own investors. So tech is something that allow companies to grow very fast, and in VC at least we have this 10-year time to make ideally a 10x plus, and so tech allows for that very speedy growth. It's not working for every single company, right? There are companies that are brick and mortar and they should stay as such, maybe apply tech to some of the processes, but it's not that every single founder needs to go through a tech enable to get investment. Eventually, a lot of great companies, and I think about Huda Beauty was built probably with no VC at the beginning, and it's an empire now, right? And it's fairly brick and mortar, but beauty has 80-90% profit. So great sector. So if the investors you deal with are not interested in a brick and mortar business, it doesn't mean that there are no other investors that could help. So look for other type of investments as well. First. Second, you might not need investment. Sometimes you can fund your own growth with revenues, in particular if the model is B2B. I would say for founders that start something they're passionate about, that's really the most important thing, and then they'll figure out where to find grants, funding, investors. It really depends what you want to build. I wouldn't build something just because investors in the tech space will be interested in. Said that, though, what's happening now with AI, robotics, and a bunch of other technologies is just phenomenal. So whatever business you have, take a look, because processes can become super speedy in no time. You can cut costs, you can create opportunities. So yeah, don't overlook at what's happening in the technology space, no matter what business you're running.
I'll just add, from the 300 perspective, we are inviting our would-be investor community into this programming, and you'll learn a little bit about it now. But this programming is supposed to help them just figure out how to invest, how to apply sound judgment in investments, how to go into a boardroom, how to coach founders. They may opt after that to invest with us, but they may also opt to invest directly into spaces that they're interested in. So, that's an eventuality. I think we have 4 minutes. Let me get your question back there.
Hello, my name is Nisha Shivaram, and I am the founder of an AI-assisted mobile app that helps people improve their communication skills. Now, when this was at the ideation stage, we won the hackathon at Cubic, but then it took me 2 years to develop this app, and it is all self-funded. Now, my question here is, we all right here spoke about rejections and criteria and early stage investment. I want to understand one thing, that do we need a Qatari partner in the team to be qualified for the investments, number one. Number two, when it is an EdTech platform, how does QSTP or any incubation center can help us get through the Ministry of Education for all the formalities, because that is the toughest part, to get all the approvals from the Ministry of Education. So these are the two things that I'm concerned about. And when you say early stage investments, there are angel investors. We have Global Ventures and Doha Tech Angels. What exactly are you looking for when you look for an early stage startup? Because even when you say it's an early stage, there are investors who would say, oh, is your MVP ready? What is the traction? Now, we are at a very, very early stage, not now, 1 year ago. So what exactly is the criteria? So I have these three questions. So if somebody can answer.
Let me start. I'll start with the last one. The connection between VC or investors rather and founders is a relationship building exercise. You have to take your time to get to know the other side. And there are founders that I've worked with who had been to 120 VCs before they found the right one. There is no, Google for VCs that gives you the information right away. So part of it is the discovery exercise to find what is early stage, who's pre-seed, seed. There are some general concepts, but it could vary from one VC to another. And I'll let one of our other members take your other questions.
It could vary within the same VC. So for instance, DTA, we generally call it seed, but what we mean by seed at DTA, and the definition of seed has changed, it changes in different regions and then changes with time. So the definition of seed for DTA is the product needs to be on the market and needs to have usage. So whether it's generating revenue or not doesn't matter, but it matters for us to see how is the product being used. Are there users? Are they engaged? Are they staying? What are they? So these are the things that for DTA, right? But that changes. But even with that, we've invested in companies that had just an idea. It's generally not what we do, but it was a second-time founder. You never know. So that's the point of it's all about the conversations. And then about the QFC question that not the Qatari partner question. No, you don't need to have a Qatari partner. And there are a lot of programs today. So DTA is one of the angel clubs. There's more and more every day. There are new investors coming in. And there's the Startup Qatar investment program that's led by QDB. And so again, you don't need a Qatari partner, and they can invest idea stage as well. So you have the whole breadth there. I think that was one of the questions, right?
So unfortunately, we're out of time, and we want to give time for the next panel so you can learn more about the program that's coming up. Thank you so much, ladies. I really enjoyed speaking with you, and I hope the audience benefited. Thank you.
And now we move to our second panel discussion. And this panel discussion gives a closer look at the design, mission, and the impact of the 300 Women Impact Investor Program. It's titled the 300 Women Impact Investor Program.
Thank you for attending today, and thank you, Noor and Wafa, for your participation. Actually, considering the conversation from the earlier panel, I will start with Noor, if you don't mind. We've learned from the earlier panel that angels are very important, especially for the early stage startups. And as someone from the government sector, how can government programs support these angels?
Thank you, Moza, for this question, and thank you for letting us be part of the launch event. As a government, we know and we realize that angel investors, they thrive in a sustainable, transparent, and informed environment. So what we try to do is give them access to data and the startups that we know of and we have in our pipeline. Second thing is we try to create programs and incubators, accelerators, partnerships, initiatives where we help the startups be technically and financially ready when they have to pitch to a startup. To an investor. We try to make awareness sessions both for investors and startups. Investors on how to evaluate a potential investor company, on startups on how to actually approach an investor, how to pitch to an investor, how to, as echoing from the last panel, how to find the right match for you, your sector, your industry, your ticket size, all of that. We also do some matchmaking events through our incubation programs and accelerators. We try to do some networking events, so Mobile World Congress, where we've done the Web Summit. We work with QDB on Rawaz, so we try to do all these events that allow startups to actually come in and network with potential investors. And we have incubators and accelerator programs that help the founders, early stage startups, scale-ups to actually find potential clients and investors in their entrepreneurial journey.
Thank you. And to go further into details as you're building the SME and startup ecosystem, what programs are supporting the funders to be investor ready specifically for this?
So I'll mention we have, so what we're trying to do is create an environment where the right company or startup or scale-up find the right program at its right time. So starting off from the idea stage up until being a small or medium corporate. So from an idea stage, we have the Digital Incubation Center. It's one of the oldest incubators in the country. What it does is it has 2 programs where we evaluate ideas. It can be just an idea and a founder. We evaluate their ideas and we incubate them for 2 years. We offer mentorship support, matchmaking with potential clients or investors, and access to the programs that Sarah mentioned with QDB and QSTP and all of that. We have then, this caters for ideation and startup stage, and then you go into the scale up, which is a more mature size of a startup. It's an accelerator, so it's cohort based. But this one is more about helping the scale up expand and hopefully go global. So we try to do, this is a fairly new program. We started last year. We're only like 2 cohorts in, and we started our 3rd cohort. This is more customized. We do a proper assessment of the company, and we bring in mentors and experts, even local entrepreneurs or successful entrepreneurs, to actually support them identify how they can be better. And we do matchmaking session with access to clients and investors. And then we have SME Go Digital. It's focused on supporting small and medium businesses to digitally transform and have some more IT capabilities within their companies.
And so, as the digital economy matures with time, how do you see Qatar's investment landscape evolve as the digital economy matures?
So as the digital economy matures, hopefully, following, also I'm echoing what has been said in the panel, I think we need to go to just not support, but also influence and make the growing that we're trying to reach more sustainable, and really just influence more of the investment, of the startups, of the scale-ups, and help them actually be more sustainable. Or if they fail, we support their second venture. So it must be more streamlined for it to be a bigger economy.
And so, as QSTP is really focused on impact for good, and as we're building the 300, this is also a guiding principle. How do you see the tech for good mindset influence the investment behavior locally?
So Tech for Good is gaining attraction because of the impact it has, and because having a more inclusive, diverse, and sustainable solution is actually, it gives you access to a broader users. So because of course they align, as Himyan mentioned, with the Qatar national vision, and then you generate a broader adoption. So this combination of having purpose, of it being diverse, inclusive, and sustainable, and the market demand of needing more of these solutions really strengthen the confidence of the investors in these solutions.
Thank you, Noor. And now we'll move to Wafa. Rama told us that among the hundreds of deals pitched, she says that you were the best. What role does your angel play in your startup?
So hi everybody, my name is Wafa Labeidat. I'm from Bahrain, and even though it took me 20 minutes to get here by plane, I always say like it's a 20-minute hover where the plane steps up and comes down. I still feel like I'm in the Maldives because I heard no cocoa melon today when I woke up in the morning. So I'm very, very happy to be here. Rama, thank you so much for the coolest compliment ever of, she called me what, the best pitcher? I just want to hear it again. Okay, thank you. So yeah, best pitcher ever that she heard, and she heard a lot of pitches. So just to give you guys a bit of background, Playbook is a venture-backed private network for women where we teach women and support women to start their investment experience, to make their first investment. We also have a huge educational component, so we're part EdTech. We do content, webinars, boot camps, and we are an incredible network. So we have over 11,000 members on the app. I'm just showing off. 20% are chiefs, and they come from 120 countries. Our mission is to build the most powerful women's network out of the MENA region. We have 90,000 members to go to become a unicorn, so wish us luck. And our story started with 3 female founders, and we could have picked, we found the statistic later, but if we added 1 man to the mix, you can increase your chances of fundraising by 50%. So I always say women love to do things the hard way, the proper way, from the ground up. Now, what's interesting about Playbook is we and I think this is kind of how the story of the angels came into place. Our first check signers were women angels, right? So Playbooks, 80% of our cap table, our backbone, the guts of the business, are women signing checks to us. And though we've raised from venture capital and family offices, we ended up building our own community of female angels that backed Playbook. And what we then did is we had over 50 to 60 active angels. We played such a big role in the education process. We did master classes by other female angels to teach other women how to invest. And then we as well, like a big part of my role as founder is meeting the most amazing women, having shared values, and then inviting them to invest into the application or into the platform. So I think we played such a big role in the success story of Playbook's fundraising by creating this funnel and getting more women to invest in the app. And then about 2 years ago, we acquired an angel investment network called Woman Spark, started by Her Excellency Dima Yahya out of Riyadh. And I really need to give, Woman Spark a bit of its own weight, but it started almost 15 years ago with a vision of building an incredible, strong network of women that would get access to deal flow. And Dima's vision was like, where are all the women? Why aren't they angel investing? And she was always the only woman in the room when she was invited into these angel investment networks. So she started Woman Spark, and she grew her own community. Now, funny story, Dima ended up becoming our investor. Woman Spark invested in us, and then we ended up acquiring the entire network and integrating it within Playbook. So Playbook today has over 100 plus active female angels. Now, I have to say, for a lot of you founders who feel frustrated with the system, because 100% it's rigged against us, by the way, because 2% of venture capital goes to women. It does not make sense. This program is phenomenal because I've never seen anything like it, and we've pitched to hundreds of companies and angel investment networks. It's so bold, and the multiplier effect will definitely happen. And it was so nice to hear you on stage, Rama, talk about the vision of how do we get 300 active women angels to invest and the multiplier effect it can have. So don't take this program for granted. It's very, very exciting, and we believe it's going to be a game changer. Now, I want to talk a bit about Playbook's angel investment network. Our angels are everyday women who work in corporate, women who are housewives, women who are ex-founders, and their check sizes differ from $10,000 all the way to $500,000. So there's no there's no specific framework of you're an investor. No, everyone can invest, and everyone can start with a $5,000 check, sometimes even $2,500, and start their experience and say, I'm an angel investor, right? So I just want to kind of disarm this idea that it's a scary technical experience. Everyone can dip their toe in the water and start their experience. And I think for us, all our angels are very active. So some angels are passive, some angels are like, listen, we love you guys, we love the idea, you guys run with it, right? So we run with it, and they get their investor reports every quarter. Some investors are active. So a lot of our investors are unlocking opportunities in multiple markets, and that's the value that angels bring. They're there working for the business. They're there supporting you so they can, A, get their ROI, but also they really believe in what they're doing and what they're seeing. So for me, the whole angel investment community are huge game changers for women, especially because we need them pre-seed and seed stage. And a lot of the women start disappearing around the Series A stage. They find it challenging to raise. So I think it's very critical to build this community and get them to back early stage startups early on. So to answer your questions, my experience with angel investors is they're game changers. We're so excited to be here and to be invited to be a part of this incredible program and to make sure that it becomes successful.
Okay, so I think a lot of the people who are interested in becoming angel investors are interested in entering the 300 program. So can you tell us more about what to expect out of this program?
Okay, so I'm biased, but it's going to be amazing. So the program is going to be designed over a certain amount of weeks. You will basically get access to some of the most incredible minds in the region where they're going to break down the different aspects of angel investing. We have a beginners program, and we have something a little bit more advanced. But the idea here is for any of you who are interested in putting an investor in your title and starting your investment journey and experience, We are going to basically cover the fundamentals. And we're also going to talk about things that most programs we've seen don't cover. And these are things that we teach a lot of the women ourselves and that we've learned from experience. So I think this will be very different because there's a lot of role play, there's a lot of exciting workbooks, there's a lot of exciting, we love our homework and we love our assignments. So there's going to be plenty of those. Okay, I hope you're all ready to, like, after your kids' homework, you're going to end up doing your own homework. But no, yani all jokes aside, it's a phenomenal program. And then we've brought such an amazing mix. So you're not going to learn just from somebody who is preaching it, but these are women who have actually started signing checks, or they come from the founder experience and they're breaking different things down as well. So you're going to get such a beautiful mix of people from around the world. I think we have instructors from over 5 or 6 different countries. So it's going to be phenomenal, and it will give everyone here the confidence to start. You know, they're going to have a clear mandate. They're going to know what their check size is. They're going to know, someone said, you know, where do we find the investors? Investors are going to know, where do we go find deal flow? Where do we find our tribes? So it's not a one-off program, but actually there's a continuity and incredible resources as well.
Okay, thank you. I had a lot more questions, but I think I'd like to open the floor to any other people who have any questions. Go ahead.
The best parts of the session.
Yes. The lady. The lady in gray over there.
Thank you. Thank you very much for this amazing session. I heard about Playbook today and I'm definitely going to join. So my question is this program going to be running simultaneously? So you said there are different levels. So wherever you are in your investing journey, you can join some. So would it be running simultaneously, or there'll be like a beginner's class and then an intermediate class? And is it only for angel investments, or if you're interested in being a VC, joining a firm, or starting your own firm, there's something for you?
Yeah, so great question. They will not be happening simultaneously. They'll be happening separately from each other. And I think to answer your second question was, what was the second one?
Was it,
Mommy brain?
Not just angels.
Is it just for angels?
Oh, no.
Or
yeah, I think we're going to also cover that as well, and maybe in the more advanced stages of like how you can become an LP. I don't know if we're going to talk about how you can create your own fund per se, but I think we're going to talk about how you can go into the later stages of becoming an investor. So early on, a lot of angel investors start making personal investments. It's not as organized. Maybe after a while, most angels or other types of investors start to have a larger portfolio. Then they want things to be more structured. They want to sometimes, like, a few weeks ago, we met the CEO of Tap Payments. I don't know if you have Tap Payments here in Qatar, but he was like, we were pitching him and he said, listen, I don't do any more angel investing. I'm too busy. I'm an LP, so I invest in funds, and funds do it. And they provide the infrastructure as well. So we're going to really give everybody a 360 on what the future, like not just how you can start as an angel investor and start building an appetite for investing, but then what happens post that as well, and giving you different roadmaps and options so there's continuity and something to work towards as well.
In the back.
Hi, I'm Rama. I have worked for a scale-up for the past 5 years, and I know how it is hectic for a CEO actually to run a scale-up or a startup. So as a woman, I guess it's also one of the reasons why there's so little women as founders. They have a family, they need to manage it, so how do you do it? And what would be your advice? Because that's maybe also one thing that scares women to create a company. They might have a lot of ideas, they are smart, but they're a bit scared of letting the family aside. So yeah, I'd love to hear your thought.
Yeah, I think that, it's definitely hard. I wish I could say like it's not. It's, I'm sacrificing, I know I made a joke about the Maldives, but honestly, like, it's definitely very challenging. I think for me, it's a bit easier. I love what I do. My personal human mission statement in this world, what I think I'm meant to do, is Playbook and Women's Spark and doing programs like these. This is like, everything Rama said was like poetry to me. It's like my love language. Like impact, women, fundraising, investment, like it really brings me so much joy. So I think, I'm very focused on what I can do. And I think every single day we see us transforming lives on the app. People find their first jobs, get speaking opportunities globally. They fundraise through the app. They've exited through our network. And I think that brings us so much joy because we're living our purpose as a team. And I think that energizes me. That's one. Two, I think I always remember I'm doing this for my kids. Like, hello, I pay for the trip, summer vacation. So like everything is towards them. Like my savings and my personal investments goes towards, and I think this is also an important to talk about impact. And I want to share a personal story. So most of my investors who are women invest in Playbook because they know that there is an impact. There is a tech for good component. We have a scholarship program. We want to get women access to leadership positions and funding. So women get it. They're like, I'm in, and they sign their checks. Strangely enough, in my experience, and I don't want to generalize, and I'm sure different people have different experiences, but 80% of the men I show this to get so turned off the impact component. So like I've learned to take off the impact slide when I pitch to men and put it back in when I pitch to women. So to me, I think we're nurturers by nature. We want to create good and impact. So I feel like everything we're doing is super powerful, and I think that's helpful. And then my last one is I'm a delegator, by the way. Like I brought my nanny when I first had my son. I said, we are co-parenting and taking care of my son. We collectively are going to make decisions. So I have a lot of help. I have a great mom who's supportive, who lives 5 minutes away by strategy. And I have a husband who kicks and screams, but he does help me out. So I think at the end of the day, I think it takes a village.
I think we have room for one more question in the back over there.
Thank you for this panel. My question is, once we are done with the program and we've graduated, does the 300 community get registered as an investor club like Doha Tech Angels?
We haven't, sorry? Talk to us in a month after we launch the program.
I think we have to see how the community evolves after this program and how involved and connected they want to remain.
I think the first phase is just let's do the program, right? And I think these type of networking events are critical as founders and as angels to talk to each other, get to know each other. I really hope everybody leaves with at least 10 new contacts today. Like honestly, I wish I could lock the doors because I'm like, no one leaves until you put 5 stickers on somebody. But I think these are incredible opportunities for you to connect and network, and I'm sure they'll be creating a lot. Rama mentioned the word community at least 10 or 15 times today. I'm sure there's going to be follow-ups, but also part of our program is going to give you additional resources, global, regional, so you can continue your own path based on your own investment journey and find your own networks as well.
Unfortunately, we ran out of time, but I ask everyone here, if you have any further questions, please approach our panelists, and I'm sure they can answer your questions. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you to our great moderator, Musa and Amy, and our distinguished speakers for this powerful conversation. Your contributions illuminate the importance, urgency, and the transformative potential of this initiative. And before we go to the closing remarks, we would like to announce the winners for the survey raffles. And there are 2 ladies. Of course, they are more than welcome to join to the stage, or I can meet them after the event. And the first winner is Asma Al-Kuwari. Congratulations. I hope she's here. And the second winner is Abir Al-Dosiri. Congratulations. As we close the formal program, we invite you all to stay with us for networking and the live performance. Please take this opportunity to connect, share, and begin building the community that will empower the future of women in investment. Thank you all and have a wonderful evening.